Putting the world to rights, putting the world to rights, putting the world, putting the world, putting the world to rights with Hen.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to Putting the World to Rights with Hen. Last time we looked at who was the most villainous, and this is our second instalment. As you may have guessed from my first instalment, I have been slightly obsessed with the divorce and the legal proceedings between Ms. H and her former husband, Mr. D. Now, I fell in love with Mr. D a long time ago, back in 1987, so I may be a little biased, but I've listened to the tapes and I've read the documents, and the evidence to me is quite clear that Ms. H is a villain. So, without further ado, let's jump down on Jump Street back into it. So, our first comparison of the day is Medusa versus Ms. H. Now, as you can see, Ms. H has styled her hair in a way that almost resembles the snakes of Medusa's hair. So, what do we know about Medusa? Medusa is the most famous of the three Gorgon sisters. Legend has it that Medusa was once a beautiful, avowed priestess of Athena, who was cursed for breaking her vow of celibacy when Medusa had an affair with the sea god Poseidon. Poseidon was Athena's enemy. Athena punished her because she could not punish a god, and she turned Medusa into a hideous hag, making her hair with writhing snakes and her skin that was turned to a greenish hue. Medusa had the power that when anyone looked into her eyes, she would turn them to stone. Now, was Medusa a villain? Well, no. All she did was have intimate relations with someone. Was that really a crime? Did she deserve to be turned into a monster? And did she have control over her powers? Absolutely not. Ms. A.H., however, has complete control over how she behaves and treats people and how she harms them. In an incident in Australia, her husband said that she threw a bottle of wine that hit the edge of the table where his hand was positioned and shattered the bone in the tip of his finger and severed it off. Now, Ms. A.H.'s version says that he did the injury himself by hitting a phone against a wall. The doctor said it was high velocity injury. So, which is the likeliest story? As for the look, well, the hairstyle is quite cute on Miss H, but why does the Gorgon monster look less sinister?
Next up, we have Ms. H and Stephen King's Carrie. As you can see, they're both donning the wet look and a sinister glare. What do we know about Carrie? Well, Carrie is famous for killing everyone at her prom and her own mother. But Carrie was a victim of abuse. For years, she suffered the abuse of her overly religious mum. And then she suffered severe bullying at school. And in a mental breakdown, she lashed out and took revenge on her bullies. First, by killing everyone at the prom. And then, after her own mother stabbed her in the back, She used telekinesis, her magical power, to throw knives at her mother in revenge, killing her in a crucifixion-style death. Carrie was mentally scarred from all the abuse that she had endured during her childhood and through the bullies from school, that she was unable to control the powers that she had just discovered she had. Carrie was a victim. She was not a villain. Miss H, however, in a text conversation with her best friend's husband, discussed how she would kill her husband if he misbehaved while she was away. And they talked about knives and how her best friend's husband would bring knives over to their house. Big knives to scare her husband into behaving. So which one is the victim? Which one is the villain? Is it Carrie, someone who was mentally disturbed and very unwell? Or Miss H, who thought that threatening her husband with knives so that he didn't misbehave was appropriate? And who pulls off the look best? Well, honestly, I don't think it's Miss H, although she does actually look the more sinister out of the two.
In our penultimate comparison, we have Ms. H versus the train man from the Matrix. As you can see, they are both wearing a pair of jeans and a top with a trench coat over the top, and they both got a scruffy hair look going on. Very similar appearance. Now, what do we know about the train man? Well, he tried to kill the hero in the Matrix films. However, the train man was just a computer program, so he wasn't really in control, so he couldn't really be a villain, could he? Ms. H, however, is accused of chopping off her husband's finger by throwing a bottle that smashed against a table, severing the tip of his finger and smashing the bones in the tip. As the doctor called it, a high velocity injury. Ms. H's version of events is that her husband caused the injury himself by smashing a telephone against the wall. As we have heard previously, Ms. H has admitted to being angry and aggressive and throwing objects and hitting her husband. So therefore, the second story is less plausible than the first. Who pulls off the look the best? Well, honestly, she doesn't pull off scruffy very well, although 99% of the time she doesn't pull off glamorous either. So we're now on to our last comparison of the day, Ms. H versus Maleficent. As you can see, they are both wearing small black dresses that leave very, very little to the imagination, and they both have fake cheekbones. So what do we know about Maleficent? Well, Maleficent is the bad, evil fairy in the Sleeping Beauty stories. But before she became the evil fairy, she was actually a very sweet, caring fairy who didn't fit into her own world. One day she met a handsome prince and they fell in love, but that prince betrayed her and cut off her wings. So, in revenge, when he married and had a child of his own, she put a curse on that child. Unbeknownst to her, she would fall in love with the child and care for her as if she was her own. Someone that does not care for children is Ms. A.H. Not only did she not donate 3.5 million to the Children's Hospital Los Angeles, but her former assistant says that she often traumatized her son by using him as a prop in paparazzi photos that she had staged. It's no surprising that Ms. A.H. copies the costume of Maleficent, as we know she was slightly obsessed with the actor that plays her. In one interview, she said she looked up to her, but it has become clear that she was jealous of the friendship that her husband had with this actress, and she believed they were having an affair, which is quite confusing considering we know that Ms. A.H. often snuck men into her apartment at night while her husband was away working.
So, who pulls off the look the best? Well, Maleficent looks classy and sophisticated, even though she's wearing something very skimpy. Whereas Miss A.H. looks quite cheap and tacky and almost like she's made her costume out of a plastic bag. And not being funny, but no one can beat those wings and horns, really, can they? Plus, when you look at the cheekbones, as fake as Maleficent's are, they still look better than A.H.'s. So in conclusion, we can draw to the same conclusion as last time. There really is only one villain in this video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please click the like button. And if you would like some more content from me, please hit the subscribe. Thank you again and goodbye for now.